All right. So I thought I would try to give you a little bit of a walkthrough on how I made my super awesome pumpkin head prop for this year's home haunt at the Haunting of the Blessed Acre. So I started out with the derpy orange Joanne's fabric. We miss you. Pumpkin head skeleton, and it had such a goofy little face. Just the cutest thing. Isn't it adorable? Oh, it's so cute. But unfortunately, cute's not what we're going for, so it had to go. So the first thing that I did was take that head right off of his body, and then I took his poor withered carcass and put this lovely carvable pumpkin from Michael's onto his head. And I attached it by using some Gorilla Glue adhesive. So I love this stuff. It's the Gorilla Glue construction adhesive in the tube. It's great. It works really well. It has a nice, good um, adherence, and it really just is fantastic. So use that to attach his head. After that, I had made these lovely vines. So these vines are actually paper mache. So we started out with these really cheap um, brown paper towels that I had gotten in bulk. They're really terrible paper towels. So, but they work great for paper mache. So using the glue that I got on super sale at Ollie's for $7.99 a gallon. Use this glue, mixed it with a little bit of water, and then we just twisted the paper towels into a twisty vine like form and hung them up to dry on a drying rack, just a towel rack that I'd gotten at, I think, Restore. And what you end up with are these crunchy little guys here. So pretty crispy. But even in their true plain old paper mache form, they're actually pretty vine-like. So, but they're not very weather resistant probably in this state. So I did choose to spray paint them. But so the other thing that I did, once they were all dried and ready to go, I took them and wrapped them in some 9 gauge craft wire, so just plain old aluminum craft wire, wrapped them up with that, and then coiled them all around, left a little, probably about a 1 inch um, end so that I could poke it through the pumpkin's head. You can kind of see in there that you can kind of see where they've poked through. That was really challenging to get to bend it. So once I did that, I kind of coiled it up into a vine shape. And then I wanted it to have that mohawk look. So I did leave the ends straight, just to kind of make sure you could tell it was a mohawk. And then once that was all done, I spray painted it with, I think the color was meadow green, gloss spray paint. I think I might have used some other colors too, but we won't talk about the process so much. So these, I decided I wanted to fill it in just a little bit more and give it a little bit more texture other than just those vines that I had made with paper mache. So I did take some just regular old jute twine, dipped it in latex and green acrylic paint, and then twirled it all around, wrapped it with uh, the green craft wire, and then hung that to dry. And then same thing as I did with the other paper mache vines, twirled them into what a shape I liked, tried to keep it chaotic, like a vine might grow out of a pumpkin's skull, and then poked them in there and kind of filled in where I wanted to fill in the gaps. So for his body, so before I started fully assembling him, I actually did go in and do some antiquing of that bright, bright orange using I think it was just some old stain that I had laying around, your typical Everybody knows how to do this, staining of the skeleton. And then after that, I decided that he would look super awesome if I made him have kind of a corpsing technique type thing going on with some burlap to give him kind of a scarecrow feel because he's going to be in a pumpkin patch. So I figured, what pumpkin patch doesn't need a creepy pumpkin scarecrow guy? So I decided to play around with a few different techniques to see what I liked the best when I went in with the um, burlap. So this are the arms here. You can see they're pretty crispy, but a little bit pliable still. So I used the glue and water and made a paper mache essentially with this. So let it soak that up, and then just wrapped it around his arm, and it's pretty solid. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't know how weatherproof that's going to end up being, or if it's going to start to sag and look like crap after it gets rained on a couple times. I don't know. I might try and water seal it, but it's fabric, so I have low hope for that. And then I decided, oh, all right, well, so that's one technique. Let's see how that holds up. And then I went in over here on this part with the traditional. I've seen other people do just latex. You just kind of dab on latex with a chip brush and smash it down into the ribs using that chip brush with latex on it. And that is solid. It's not going anywhere. It's probably waterproof, and it looks great. So fantastic option if you want to just stick with just doing the latex dipped burlap. I'm cheap, so I was hoping that my cheap glue was going to do the trick. So I tried that. And then I tried one more glue technique. So this part here, you can kind of see the detail there. That is straight up just that clear, excuse me, that clear craft glue. So it is hard as a rock. It is not going anywhere. It is not coming off. It is crispy. So if you want any pliability, that's not going to be your option. But if you don't care about that, this is just a fine option, just using that clear Elmer's glue to stick that burlap in and on to his ribs. So that's what I did. Those are the different ways that I did those techniques. This one up here, I actually did do dabbing with latex, and it's fine. It's crisp. It's pretty. It's got some pliability, which I wanted, and I really wanted to kind of keep that same burlap texture. Here, let me break it real quick while I'm showing you. My bad. I did want it to still have that burlap texture and kind of a little bit of give to it. So I'm happy with that, how that turned out. So moving on to his vines. So I created his vines using jute rope of different sizes. So I have this larger size jute rope, and then I do have a smaller size jute rope, and then there's those small vines like you saw up here. For those, I just took I had a gloved hand, and I took handfuls of great stuff insulation foam and kind of like dabbed it on there really thinly, kind of smeared it onto there. They are also, again, with the craft wire that so that they'll be curly and hold their shape. I had first wrapped them in craft wire. Once that dried, then I went in and did some detailing paint with an airbrush and spray paint. I mean, I just can't get enough painting. Sometimes I overdo it when I go in with the detail paint. Um, and so kind of just decided I wanted some veins kind of exploding out of his stomach area, chest. It doesn't look quite like how I initially envisioned it, but I like how it turned out. It looks fine. I like it. Um, and then you can kind of see inside, I've got some vines that are wrapping all the way around his torso and then up into his rib cage and around the back of his rib cage and attaching back there. And then wrapping in and around and through his rib cage up here. And then I've got some that are wrapping all the way up his leg and through his pelvis. Sorry, buddy. And then I've got a nice thick wrap of coil down there at the foot and kind of incorporated his whole foot into some great stuff foam to again kind of tie it into the ground around him and make it look like there's vines growing out of the ground. And when I set the scene, I will likely make more of these green vines to add to the prop area and the scene area so that it kind of ties the prop all the way through with the scene, which is going to include those guys, which I'm super excited to start working on. So that is my pumpkin head prop. Um, I hope you like him. I hope that you build something super awesome and that this helped somebody in some way with something. So, ta ta for now. Bye.